What's up, guys? Sean here from Skidmarks again. I've got Mo from Car Candy Inc. and you guys know Vic on the channel for sure. We out at Mo's place today. We got two very special cars in the background there. That one belongs to Mo, and that one over there you guys saw on the channel a couple of weeks ago. It must be my lucky month because it's like seeing this car twice in 1 month, guys. So today is a special day, like I told you guys earlier. It is Mo's 100th car sale. He's the owner of Car Candy Inc. and I mean, yes, he's been pushing hard. We've been seeing posts on his Facebook page. We've been seeing it on his WhatsApp status. He has taken car sales, especially with E30s and classic BMWs, classic cars overall, to a completely different level, guy. And we just want to congratulate you, Mo. It's been amazing
Thanks
watching
so
your journey. I'm sure Vic can corroborate on that.
Indeed. So Mo did so well at procuring the right amount of cars. We'll get into it in a little bit later, but I actually bought a very super clean two-door E30 from Mo. And we'll divulge the whole beginning and where that car has ended now. But yeah, he's a super cool, humble guy, and he's well connected to good people that source real nice rides. And as everybody knows, E30 box shapes have become the new gold, and quite hard to find clean ones. And he managed to find one all the time.
Yeah, I know.
Thank God for that.
So guys, if you want to see what the video is all about, please stay tuned for this conversation between Mo and Vic.
Indeed.
Yeah. Throw your hands up if you with it. Throw your hands up if you with it.
So Mo, let's start in the beginning. How did Car Candy come to be, and what in life forced you to take that step?
Vic, I speak about this all the time, and I'm happy to share this. 8 years ago, I lost my job. Put into a situation where I'm not a corporate person. It's not my style. It's not who I am. And I've always had the passion of being in the motor industry, but sadly, I always use the excuse of no money. No money, no time. And I tell you, that's really what happened. Is God said, I'm taking something away from you. I want to almost give you what you want.
You got to step up.
But now step up.
You got to step up to the plate.
And that's really where, Car Candy's been there. It's been focused around the events, the automotive events. We've really tried our best to, cater for the guys.
Yeah.
But we then had to move into a business. And that's where we are. 8 years later, I don't know how I've achieved it. We're sitting on 100 E30s sold today.
You achieved it, and I say this to so many young up-and-coming talent and MCs and people just who want to be in the game, is consistency, bro.
100%.
And that's exactly how you've done it. You got up every day and you're like, I'm going to run through this. I'm going to make this happen. It's a niche market, and I'm going to do it every single day.
Agreed.
It's not easy selling E30s. It's a very niche market. Even though it's grown in popularity over the years, it's still a very, very niche market.
Extremely.
In the beginning, first E30 you sold, do you remember it?
Sure. I don't. I do. What I do remember, and it comes back to me all the time. There was one of, I think it was probably in the 5th or 6th sale. And I literally went into a guy's house, he wasn't there, and we had to conclude a deal with a client. And the oak literally dumped a bag of cash in front of us.
Damn.
And I had no clue what to do because there was a lot of money in front of me. I had a client, I had the seller's wife sitting there, and you know, there's so many things that go through your mind of what could go wrong here. And I'll never forget the day we counted cash on a boot lid. It was fine. The oak didn't drive the car. He didn't test drive the car. He literally got
bought it
in,
without driving it.
took the papers, drove away, and he called me a week later.
Don't do that. Don't pay for a car without driving it. I'm just letting you know. Inside tips: drive the car. So, besides you selling a lot of E30s, we're celebrating. You've just sold 100 E30s.
Yeah.
100 E30s in a lifespan of how many years?
8. This is the 8th year I'm doing this. So in 8 years.
It's very hard to find clean E30s. Let's first talk about the popularity of E30s. Obviously, the E30 has become and is a legend, not just locally, but especially overseas. You see a lot of like hip-hop videos now featuring E30s, especially the cabriolets. But here back home in South Africa, E30 has always been a legendary status of a vehicle.
Yes.
Obviously, 325 IS Kushesh being the royal, king of them all. How do you feel, and what do you feel has attributed to the E30's success and popularity, especially in the last 5 years?
The one thing I've picked up, because I speak to clients, it's just not about selling that car to you. It's understanding if there's a story behind it.
Sure.
And there's something that has been very common. The guy that grew up and could never afford that,
it. Yeah.
he goes into detail where, Mo, I walked in the street and I admired that, and Mo, there was no food on the table.
So when you're talking about, let's move this age group accordingly. So if you're a young teenager in the late 90s, there were 3 iconic cars that you wanted to own. It was still the 325 IS, which came out last edition 92. It was the VR6 Vura, which got produced until 98.
Yes.
And then the early E36s that started filtering through M3. So the same young kid that wanted the E30 IS, couldn't afford it obviously as a young teenager unless daddy was bankrolling it.
Yes.
Now is sitting in his early or late 30s or early 40s now, and suddenly has the funds
the money
to access to go buy that dream car that he wanted as a youngster. And that's what I feel is happening a lot. Simo, open up that Facebook app, go through to Marketplace, try to find me a 2-door E30, non-325.
2 doors these days. Let's see what we find.
I'm talking specifically a chrome bumper, 84 to like 89, but let's just see what we find.
Look what pops up. E30 chrome bumper coupe.
Yeah.
Sure. Massive list there.
Yeah, who feel?
No price. POA.
So between me and you, we research the market often enough. Do you think it's valid for someone to try and sell a 316, no electric windows, no sunroof, the seats are broken and leaning to the left as they usually do, some of them have been recovered, some of them are not, but pretty much a 4 out of 10 car, and they're trying to fetch 140 for it?
Doesn't justify it.
Do you think, like your personal opinion, do you think that's right? Not right, but do you think like...
I can answer that and say no, because this is what I've done throughout the 100 sales. It wasn't just about thumb sucking a number.
But that's what's happening is like...
Although people are doing it.
Yeah, I feel that Facebook Marketplace is like, bro, people are just whatever number they want, because they can. At the end of the day, it's their property. They can sell it for whatever you want. What do you think a 6.5 out of 10, 318, 2-door, Chamonix in color, chrome bumper, stock, 280,000 Ks should sell that, non-modified?
Stock coupe these days can sell anything from 80 to 100 grand.
318, right?
318.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So in my personal opinion, a car like that should fetch, if it's a 6.5 out of 10, 85 to 90, depending.
I'm fussy, so I would almost say 8 to a 9
Yeah.
between the 85 100,
Okay.
and if it's 5 and below, then
No, 5 and below shouldn't fetch even
Shouldn't,
85.
definitely.
But the chrome bumper is not the popular one. Let's talk about a two-door plastic bumper, which you've sold many, including, for all that don't know, I phoned Mo a couple of years ago and said, yo, Mo, I'm looking for a two-door plastic one. I see you've got this one. He's like, yeah, I got the right one just for you. And Mo basically procured one of the deals that managed for me to actually get my two-door E30 that I had, which unfortunately was super clean. It was a 316 entry level, no rev counter, but clean. And then COVID hit. And if anybody's in the entertainment game knows that you're pretty much out of work for a year and 9 months. So unfortunately, I was forced to sell it, which I sold it to, we'll play open cards, my boy Lifa.
Yes.
Lifa and his friend. They then in turn, put a 4-pipe M3 in, slapped a lot of sunroof, electric windows, a lot of work and investment. And in turn, it sold about 8 months ago for a decent amount of money, which we'll leave undisclosed because, we got to be private like it.
Yes.
What do you think a clean 7 out of 10, or let's say a clean 8 out of 10, 318 or 316 plastic bumper should fetch?
Two-door.
Two-door, 8 out of 10 car. Original honest mileage of at least 250.
I can tell you, if I put up a car like that today at 100k, I'm going to have 20 oaks bugging me.
Now, do you think they're bugging you because they're buying it because it's a two-door 318? Or you think they're bugging it to take that body and turn it into a 1 million 325 IS?
I think there's two sides to it. There's
Yeah.
a lot of oaks that can no longer afford the IS.
Sure.
And it's opportunity to change it into the dream. And there's also some of the oaks that just want to keep it stock. They appreciate what it is. I've had oaks buy cars from me that have left me that look the same after 6 years. Nothing done. And it's personal choice.
So out of the 100 cars that you as Car Candy has sold, how many of those do you think were two doors?
Sure.
Guesstimation.
I'd say at least probably just about 10.
Really?
12, yeah. Coupes are very hard to find, eh?
Wow.
Extremely hard to find a coupe.
So what I've realized in the last few months is 325s and 320s and 323s are almost non-existent. Like you can't find them anymore, as in on the market for sale.
The most wanted car for me, and I promise you there's never a day I don't get a request on my cell phone. Every single day there's a potential buy for E30, and everyone's looking for a 4-door plastic bumper, 3 to 5.
Sure.
That's the most wanted car right now. I've probably got at least 20 oaks on my database. On dial.
So I'm obviously very close to the spinning. Do you feel that the revolution and the culture and the movement of spinning in South Africa, which is pretty much the fastest growing motorsport in the African continent, has contributed to huge sales in the E30 market and the popularity of the E30?
I think so. I definitely do. I mean, I spent a lot of time following these events, being part of it. It's something I enjoy till today. I'll never forget the West Bank days where I sat on the grandstand and I saw Magesh jump out of a silver E30. And that was legendary.
You still owns that car, eh?
100%. RSD.
E36 M3. My boy Magesh and Daba. Yeah, no, that car is iconic. And Jeff James still owns his E30 that started spinning way back in the day. I was at his house in Soweto and I was like, yo, bro, this is still the OG, man.
Definitely. And if you look while we're talking about Magesh, respect to him, he's got his spin cars.
Absolutely.
But he's got some.
Are you talking about? You can see, speak, tell him, Magesh, you got a clean IS. Tell him.
He's got the beautiful.
Lifa got a clean one. Yeah, we know. we know the truth. So, tell me about some of the most memorable sales that you've had in these 100.
There's one that really stands out. my buddy Ismail from Malawi. He actually tested me out this, okay? He literally sent me a request and he said, Mo, search for this car for a client. And we went at looking at a few cars and he kept saying no, no, and I was almost like, Ish, are you really wanting to buy this car or not? And when I kind of started the conversation with him, he said, Mo, I've been testing you and I've been watching you in the cars for me. Please do me a favor and send me your bank details. So I said, Ish, I've never seen you in person. You stay in Malawi. I'm here. What are we trying to achieve? He actually did not want to speak to me about anything else. He forced me to send the bank details, which I did, because I thought, hey,
Yeah.
well, what is I going to do?
Business, yeah.
He transferred money into my account.
Did you procure the car for him?
I bought the car, so as soon as he transferred, I said, okay, this is
Legit.
now proper serious. The next morning, I actually found the car. I sent him everything that he required. He was happy. The next day, we went into hard lockdown. Literally hard lockdown. Car went into storage.
Wow.
I sat with the car for a year. We
Wow.
went from literally just saying, Mo, put a boot spoiler and a rim and let's send it off. We wrapped the car. We imported a very specific color.
Oh, wow.
We went to the legendary Sam Speed. We rebuilt a 325 motor. The car was originally a 318 M10.
Okay.
Full 325. We redid the suspension. Every single part was removed from the car. Redone, put back.
Wow.
The car then was shipped to him. I think since the initial discussion to the day he received the car was a year and a half later.
Wow.
And today we've become best buddies. We talk all the time. And he was really my motivation. You know, I asked him a question. I said, you could have transferred that money, which was a decent amount, to someone here that was going to just take your money. And he said, Mo, I watched you. I prayed. And my gut said, this is the man that's going to build my dream car. And he had a vision. You know, he was a client that said, I know exactly what I want. Build it. And I just did that. And that really
Good
stood out for
relationship
me.
between-
It gave me a lot of confidence that someone could trust me with that. And it was just a boost for me. You know, it just kept pushing me more and more after that to say, while people say something's not possible, anything's possible.
My man, it's good to hear honest stories like that, like legit honest stories. I love connecting with people and telling, you know, truthful stories.
That's it, you know.
Out of the 100 cars that you've sold, is there anyone that you would have liked to have kept for yourself?
Definitely.
You can only mention one, because I'm sure there's a few.
Sure. I would say from everything there was, and it's so weird that we're sitting and we're having the discussion because you own the car and I own the car.
Oh,
some
my
stage.
man.
The 318 station wagon,
E30
left-hand drive
touring.
import. So I owned it. I drove it for about 2 years.
Yeah.
I think I bought my first house. I had no
Wow.
cash. I had to do some renovations and the car sold. And
Do you remember the year you owned it? I'll tell you the year I owned it.
sure, this was definitely about 8 years ago that I sold
So
that
we're talking
car.
2014, something like that.
Yeah.
So I owned that lefty touring in its original form between the years of 2006 to about 2008.
Sure, that's a long time ago.
Yeah. When it was mine, it was still in its stock form. It had the original, you know, cloth interior. By the time it got to you, you had a full interior,
change,
leather interior. Touring is special, especially here in this country because they're scarce.
That's my dream.
We know where the car is.
Yeah. I know exactly where the car is.
So let me share the story. I was in Kuruman at Team Saluki's show and shine, and I saw this white touring, and I noticed it was a lefty. Obviously, the interior had changed, stuff, different wheels. It took me a while, and I figured out, yo,
the car.
I found the owner. He's like, yo, this is your old one. I'm like, out of all places, you found it in Kuruman at a show. It was real weird. It was really weird. Mo, I know you focus on E30s. Car Candy has moved to other brands of cars and other genres. It's not just E30 based.
definitely.
Business is business. What do you feel out of the BMW stable will become the next E30?
E36. It
Specifically,
started already.
which specific model?
Look, there's the hype already on M3. It's there.
Yeah.
There's crazy hype on the M3. My gut tells me, and I'm saying this because I pick up a lot of inquiries on accessories more than before. So it's just showing people are buying more of them. I think also because of the limited amount of E30s, owners don't really want to sell anymore.
And
So
what's left of
what's
spares, my man? Because
Spares.
spares are becoming scarce.
And I think on the E36, there's much more available. Beautiful car. I think there's also
value for money.
There's also been a bit of a spike on E46 as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, guaranteed E36.
I do like an E36. You obviously know my drift cars on the E36 platform.
Definitely.
I had two very clean M3s which fetched amazing prices after they left my hands. I don't want to get into that story, but damn. E36s are fetching like some really mad money these days. And the 4-pipes. The 4-pipes have
Yes.
never like, their value is remained, especially if you know the mileage is accountable at BMW and they haven't been turned back.
Mileage and manual.
Tell me your 5 top tips when someone is purchasing a car, what to look for and telltale signs that maybe the car is not as legit as the ad says it is.
You know, the first thing I'll say to someone, because a client did this and it upsets me till today, people out there are getting so excited for the E30s that you see an ad, you get excited, you call the Oak. Guys, please don't pay deposits. There's a lot of scams out there. A client sends me a message. I'll never forget the day I was driving. And he sends me a voice note. He's like, Mo, I know you're busy. I'm sorry. Just when you get home, just check my message. 10K in your account. 10K for what? I haven't invoiced you. No, you just posted up a car. I know you're going to sell it quick. I'm there tomorrow to pay the balance. I said, send me a picture because I don't have an E30 in stock.
Oh, no way.
Someone used my pics. They used my exact wording. They put it up because they obviously see what I do.
Oh, wow.
That's also it's Mo. He knows he can trust me. He paid 10K into scammed his account. Money gone. So that immediately I would say to Oaks,
No deposits.
you know, no deposits. If clients ask me, can you help me out? With pleasure. You know, I've had a lot of cars come to me. I've not made money out of the sale, but I'd prefer helping someone that's sitting in KZN. He's got my own honest opinion of the car. Okay, go ahead, pay. You know, it's safe. The guy's actually standing in front of me.
Sure.
That's what it's about.
And telltale signs physically on a car like an E30, what to look for,
You know,
what are the
immediately,
problematic.
I think I've got just a set pattern that I follow. When I walk to a car, I go first to your VIN numbers, your chassis numbers.
Engine numbers.
Immediately, if I see anything wrong, I walk away. I'm quite fussy in what I advertise, and that's just who I am. I want to sell off a quality vehicle. So if I see something that puts me off immediately, I'll either walk away totally, or I'll put a bit of effort in trying to understand what has gone wrong, and if it makes sense, I'll move forward. But I've walked away from a lot just because if something doesn't match up, sorry,
Sure.
we're walking away.
So let me ask you this. A period correct, late 80s, early 90s, the E30s stopped being produced in 92. If a car was used as a daily, which most 316s, 318s and 320s were, what do you think the correct mileage should be on a car like that? Because let's be honest, we all know how to turn the clocks back, especially on an older E30. And I strongly believe that most of the clocks on the E30s have been turned back tremendously. What do you think is the right mileage?
I could be wrong. I'd say between 250.
I would say more like 400, but that's just my opinion.
I've seen a lot of cars at that mileage.
Sure.
We've also seen the total opposite. You know, there's been a lot of cars that I've come across where extremely low mileage, and then you ask yourself,
wear and tear.
How is
seats,
this? How is this possible?
steering wheel? Yeah.
And then, I mean, recently I sold a car that had, I think, just about 250, but the car looked like it had 50,000 Ks. It was unbelievable. You know,
Wow.
I feel a lot of these cars were driven, but I feel like there was quite a bit that were not used as much back then. You know,
Or maybe, yeah.
well, like it was probably a Sunday car, a Saturday car, but if it was used, it wasn't being driven
Far distances.
exactly.
My final question. I introduced you to a fellow friend who we're gonna leave him as Exhibit A. Exhibit A has a super clean diamond black
I remember
E30
this
325
conversation.
IS. Standing on a set of stands, original mileage of 60,000 Ks. Clean, no paint, no accident damage, been in this gentleman's possession for over 20 years. What do you think an overseas auction like Mercum or Barrett Jackson, if that car had to go under the hammer in the States, how much do you think that would fetch in dollars? That specific car that
I
we're
think a
talking
car
about.
like that would fetch massive money, and I think locally, I'm almost sure it would fetch big numbers, and locally guys would be like, nah, it doesn't justify. But look at it this way: we don't have the E30 M3. We've got Oaks willing to pay the money to get them here.
Sure.
We've got one at the back of us, and this comes with the story as well. You know, childhood dream. I can afford it. I'm buying it. So I see big numbers. I mean, we've got big numbers in South Africa.
Yeah, well, obviously,
Massive
you know, the headline that was making waves around social media a few weeks was the 333 that sold for 1 point something million, 1.1, I think.
I think it finalized at about 1.2 with all the fees and everything.
Ask me how much I sold my 333 for in 2007, Mo. Ask me.
Let me take a guess.
Now I want you to ask me how much I sold it for.
How much?
72,500 rand.
How much?
Worth 105,000 Ks.
So let me make you a bit sad here. I won't mention a name. I was speaking to a buddy last week, sent me a few pics. He's sitting on an offer at 1.7.
For chop.
Henna Red 333 stock original car.
Don't tell me it's mine.
I don't know.
Number?
We haven't gone into detail. There's no number plates. I'm not allowed to post the picture.
Don't post a picture. Just find out the number because I know exactly what
I'll
my
get the
number
number,
was.
but we're sitting on 1.7 and he will not sell the car.
Wow.
He will not sell.
You know, in honesty, the 333 should be selling at a higher number than the IS because the 333 was limited to
Yeah.
65. I mean, 65.
Very, very limited.
No, I'm lying.
But
I'm lying. That was the CSL. Victor, where's my
I can't
knowledge?
remember the
100 and
exact-
something.
Yeah, about
And the ISs were much more than
Much.
that. So 333 in essence is older and rarer than the 325 IS. Why do you think the IS fetches more money than 333?
I think the IS has always been the hype. Remember, I mean, me
The G-Ride.
growing up, I always knew the IS. I mean, I stayed in Indonesia and we know there's a lot of E30s there. And I would see these out spinning these cars, you know, and there was always hype on an IS.
Wow.
I feel until recently, Oaks really didn't care about a 333. You know, there was no hype around it. There were 333s around. I've always heard owners complaining, this car overheats all the time. There's always an overheating problem. There was no hype on it.
You know, my
I think specific Oaks had them, knew what they had,
Sure.
but there was never a massive number attached to that
I
car.
must say, I'll pick mine up. It had 70,000 odd Ks. I sold it with 105. Never gave me a day's problem, man. Phenomenal vehicle. Just drove well. Immense amount of torque. By today's standards, definitely not a fast car, but neither
Yeah.
is in by today's standard E36 M3. If you get an E36 M3 now and you drive a, like, I don't know, a 135, there's like, you know,
Yeah.
time lapse of a big difference. But yeah, my trip was It was a fresh ride, bro, and I actually sold it to a collector, a Greek gentleman, Spiros. And yeah, I heard he sold it, I think 3 or 4 years ago for a good amount of money.
And the car's probably worth much more now.
Well, I'm going to end this off. Where do you see, what is the next big highlight for you in the next 12 months?
So obviously we super stoked, excited, blessed that we were able to achieve 100. Obviously for me it's not just stopping there.
Sure.
I'm now after 150. I think it's going to take much more time. I think because of the availability, there's a lot of owners are holding on to them.
Sure.
But remember, we've done a lot of other cars as well. You know, we're quite niche, so we keep it old school, classic, collectible. I've sold a lot of, you know, VWs, Mark 1 cabriolets, Mercs. So, you know, if there's something cool, clean, nice, original, bring it to us. We're definitely going to be there to sell it.
I shall hook you up. Mo, thanks for your time and effort, bro.
Thank you
Continued
so much for
success
your
in all
time.
you do, and blessings of attainability of your goals,
Thank you so much.
not just for Car Candy, but in your personal life too.
100%.
Bless up on that.
So guys, Mo, thank you so much for inviting us out today.
No, thank you, man.
We really appreciate it. Guys, if you need any E30 parts, BMW parts, Car Candy Inc., where can they follow you?
Instagram, Car Candy Inc. SA. Facebook, Car Candy Inc. TikTok as well. Yeah.
And
Send us a request via the page. My number's there. We'll gladly sort you out.
and if you need your car sold, you have a classic car, even if it's a new car, contact Mo, guys.
Please do.
Contact Mo. Peace
Thank
out.
you. Bye.